The Force 5 door system's installation instructions apply to the Force 5 third-party certified single doors, single and double continuous side light units, and French and patio units. Please note, these installation instructions are basic best practices when installing your Force 5 door system. Required tools for installing a Force 5 door system include the following: a tape measure, a 6-foot level, mason line, a caulk gun, a hammer, a screw gun with a number 2 Phillips drive bit, a utility knife. Required supplies for installing a Force 5 door system include the following: caulk or sealant of one of the following types: polyurethane or polymer-based or 100% silicone. Quantities of 10-ounce sealant tubes required are approximately 2 for a single door and 3 for a patio door, side light door, or French door. 4D common nails to secure the SureSil Silpan end caps. 12D galvanized finishing nails to secure the brick mold. Number 8 by 2.5 inch wood screws to secure the frame. Tapered shims to square the door unit. Insulating material for between the frame and rough opening on the interior. The first step in the installation process of Force 5 door systems is to prepare the rough opening for installation of the door unit. The opening should be 1/2 inch taller and 3/4 of an inch wider than the door unit. To verify that the opening is square, make sure that the diagonal distances of the rough opening are within 1/4 inch of each other. Ensure that the rough opening is plumb. Check with a 6-foot level on the edge and face of each stud. Diagonally placed strings should be within 1/8 inch of each other at the center. Make sure the subfloor is level and clean. Make adjustments as necessary to ensure that the rough opening is properly prepared for installation. Ensure that there is support underneath the front edge of the sill if it overhangs the subfloor. If not, build out a structure to support it. If you are using a height plate to bring the sill up to the level of the finished floor covering, you need to be sure that it is at least as wide as the sill and as long as the rough opening. Also, be sure to caulk thoroughly under and around the height plate. Finally, the rough opening should be flashed according to local building code requirements. Proper flashing plays a critical part in channeling water away from the structure and preventing unwanted damage. If a SureSil Silpan will be used, skip this step. The second step is to caulk the rough opening. Apply 3 heavy beads, 1/2 inch wide of polyurethane, 100% silicone, or polymer-based sealant on the subfloor or height plate as shown. Place enough caulk at the ends to completely cover where the bottom of the side jambs will rest. Further assurances against unwanted water penetration can be attained by using the SureSil Silpan. For openings with house wrap, peel back the wrap at the bottom of each side of the rough opening. First, size the Silpan for an exact fit with the rough opening. Measure the width of the rough opening along the bottom. Cut the SureSil channel plate 1/4 inch shorter than the rough opening length. Next, attach each end cap. Dry fit the assembled Silpan in the rough opening to ensure it is properly sized. Remove the Silpan from the rough opening and then remove each end cap. Apply medium weight PVC cement to the end cap and channel plate. Assemble the end cap to the channel plate, ensuring a tight fit. Wipe off excess cement as necessary. Repeat this step on the other end. Next, apply 3 heavy beads, 1/2 inch wide of polyurethane, 100% silicone, or polymer-based sealant on the subfloor or height plate. Place the assembled SureSil Silpan into the rough opening. Secure the Silpan by driving fasteners at the slots provided in each end cap. Reposition the house wrap to overlap the top of each SureSil end cap. Secure in place. Once the door unit is installed, seal the interior edges of the SureSil with the following steps. 1. Apply sealant between the rough opening and the jamb, 6 inches above the end caps. Backer rod may be needed to fill in wide gaps. 2. Apply sealant between the back edge of the end cap and the jamb. 3. Apply sealant between the back edge of the Silpan and the sill. Next, apply a 1/2 inch bead of sealant to sheathing side of brick mold or exterior trim. Ensure that sealant is compatible with sheathing, house wrap, or flashing around the rough opening. Next, center the door unit with rough opening, then pivot into position, taking care not to wipe away subfloor caulking. Temporarily secure the unit using a finish nail through the vertical brick mold legs into the sheathing. Do not fully set the nails. Check that the unit is plumb in each direction as the finish nails are applied. The inside edge of the door unit should project 1/2 inch past stud interior surface for proper alignment with drywall. Next, drive fasteners through the thick part of jambs, but not into the rough opening. Position fasteners just above the hinges on the hinge jamb and at the same heights on the opposite jamb. Use 3 number 8 by 2.5 inch screws or equivalent fasteners for 7 foot tall and shorter units and 4 fasteners for taller units. For systems with brick mold or other exterior trim, assure that the back side of the molding is tight against exterior sheeting. Do not secure the door only through brick mold or other exterior trim. Note that door units installed in high-velocity wind zones will require anchoring according to approved requirements, which most likely differ from Force 5 instructions. The fourth step is to shim and secure the hinge jamb. First, temporarily install simple solution pads in each bottom corner of the active door opening, but do not yet remove adhesive backing paper. Using a 6-foot level, check that the hinge jamb is plumb in both directions. Place shims behind each hinge. Adjust the shims to take up the space between jamb and rough opening. In some cases, the rough opening will be plumb and allow the door jamb to be placed against the rough opening. Shims on this side will not be required. At the top hinge, replace the 2 short screws closest to weather strip with number 8 by 2.5 inch long screws. On all other hinges, replace the top screw closest to the weather strip. Drive each long screw into the shims into the rough opening stud. Trim or remove excess shims, which project past the interior edge of the rough opening. Using the 6-foot level, assure that the jamb face is not bowed. Bow can be corrected by applying additional shims and fasteners as necessary. The fifth step is to shim and secure the opposite jamb. Check the jamb for plumb in both directions with a 6-foot or longer level. Adjust as necessary. Install shims across from each hinge location between the jamb and rough opening. Adjust shims to ensure a 1/8 inch consistent margin between door panel and jamb. Then adjust the jamb inward or outward so it is flush with the face of the door. Check the weather strip contact with the door panel face for even compression all around. Then check for proper positioning of the weather strip. The weather strip should be flush with the sill deck or just above the deck surface, up to 1/8 of an inch. The weather strip should not be placed too low or too high in relation to the sill. At the top of the door unit, the header weather strip should be flush with the side jamb. The jamb weather strip should be flush with the header weather strip. No gaps should exist. Set each jamb screw through the shims. Trim excess shims. Check the jamb for bow and adjust as needed. Next, install the lock set hardware. With the door closed, shim behind the strike and deadbolt plates to maintain a proper margin. Secure each plate with a number 8 by 2.5 inch screws through the shim and into the rough opening stud. Remove excess shims. The next step is to secure fasteners through the header. Place shims between the top face of the header and the rough framing at the center of each door panel. Adjust for proper margin between the panel and header at all operable panel locations. Secure the header by driving a number 8 by 2.5 inch screw through the thick part of the header at each shim location. Remove excess shims. Finally, drive and set the finished nails in brick mold. Even though Force 5 door units are set for proper function at the shop, there may be a need to adjust the fit between the sill and door bottom seal. Determine if the compression of the door bottom seal is sufficient and consistent across the panel. The seal bulbs should be partially compressed. If necessary, adjust the sill cap to ensure consistent spacing between panel and cap. The simple solution corner pads are set in each bottom corner as follows. Apply a small bead of sealant at the joint between sill cap and jamb. on both the front and top edges of cap. Do not wipe sealant. Next, remove the backing paper to expose the adhesive. Position the Simple Solution pad so the raised fin tucks behind the weather strip and the bottom surface squarely sits on the sill cap. The Simple Solution corner pad should be placed flush and level with the sill cap, with the patented leg tucked under the weather strip. The Simple Solution corner pad should not have a gap underneath it or lay at an angle with the sill cap. Note that pads are not required on outswing door units. Next, caulk exterior joints between the sill and frame members. As in previous steps, Endura recommends a polyurethane, 100% silicone, or polymer-based. Apply sealant to the following areas: the intersection of the sill deck and each jamb and mullion, the front-bottom edge of the sill, where it meets the subfloor or support, and the joint where the sill deck meets the sill extender. Note, do not caulk the front-bottom edge of the sill if a sill pan is used. French door units include Endura's Ultimate Astragal. The Ultimate Astragal comes with the necessary hardware to complete its installation. Each hardware pack is tailored to the type of Astragal being installed. Types of packs include the Ultimate Astragal In-Swing and Outswing packs, the Ultimate Hurricane Astragal In-Swing and Outswing packs. The following instructions apply to field installation of Endura's Ultimate Astragal. Instructions apply to both in-swing and outswing versions, except where noted. Step 1. Position and install bolt retainers. Ensure that the door unit has been properly positioned, plumbed, and secured in the rough opening. The margins between the door panels at each jamb and the header should be even and properly sized. For in-swing door units only, the Simple Solution corner pads should be secured in place at the bottom of each jamb and at the bottom of the Astragal. Remove the trim strip provided with the Astragal. Close the passive door, positioning the panel so the interior face is flush with the thin edge of the header. Slide the upper and lower Astragal bolts until the pins contact the header and sill. Mark the header and sill where the center of each pin makes contact. Drill a 3/8 diameter hole in the header, 1 3/8 inches deep. Center the upper retainer over the header hole and then square its edge to the header edge. Attach the upper retainer to the header with screws provided. Check that the Astragal upper bolt pin fits into the hole and that the bolt throws fully upward. Note, for door units using the Ultimate Hurricane Astragal, use the reinforced steel upper retainer instead of the standard retainer. For in-swing door units, drill a 5/8 inch diameter hole in the sill cap, 1 3/8 inches deep. Remove the drill debris from the hole. Note that the cup has an oval hole in its center, which should be oriented left to right. Insert the retainer cup into the sill hole. A mallet may be needed to fully seat the retainer cup. Check that the Astragal lower bolt pin fits in the hole and that the bolt throws fully downward. For outswing door units, drill a 5/8 inch diameter hole in the sill deck at 1 3/8 inches deep. Remove the drill debris from the hole. Note that the cup has an oval hole in its center, which should be oriented left to right. Insert the retainer cup into the sill hole. A mallet may be needed to fully seat the retainer cup. For outswing door units using the Ultimate Hurricane Astragal, the reinforced steel lower retainer is positioned over the sill cup. Step 2. Position strike and deadbolt plates. Close the passive door and slide the upper and lower bolts into their engaged positions. Close the active door until its leading edge is near the passive door. With a pencil, mark the center lines of both the deadbolt and strike latch on the narrow edge of the Astragal. Open the active door. Vertically center the Astragal latch strike plate with the latch pencil mark. Horizontally position the latch strike plate towards the weather strip so the active door interior face is flush with the thin edge of the header when the door is closed. Secure the latch strike plate by tightening its screws. Vertically and horizontally position, and then secure the deadbolt strike plate so the deadbolt will freely engage the plate when the door is closed and the strike latch is engaged. Step 3. Install trim. Cut the trim strip to fit each of the following locations: from the bottom of the strike support to the bottom of the strike latch plate, between the top of the strike latch plate and the bottom of the deadbolt plate, from the top of the deadbolt plate to the top of the strike support. Note that the trim should tuck under both ends of each plate. Step 4. Cut weather strip at the header. Close the passive door and engage the astragal bolts. With the active door open, mark the header weather strip along the active door side of the astragal upper trim cap. Open the passive door. With a utility knife, cut the header weather strip at the mark. The cut should extend from the free end of the weather strip leg to the elbow. Close the passive door to check the cut. The header weather strip should freely rest in its extended position at the active door portion. Field installation of Endura's Ultimate Astragal is complete. The last step is weatherproofing. Caulk the unit on weather-exposed side between brick mold and siding or sheathing. Caulk at joint of brick mold and jamb, and brick mold and header. Caulk the brick mold at its mitered corners. Install flashing above protruding header trim in shingle fashion, or per the flashing manufacturer's instructions. Insulate the gap between the frame and rough opening according to local code requirements or building practices. You have just completed the installation of a Force 5 door system.